This is a podcast by the Straits Times.
Hello and welcome to Pop Vultures, a pop culture podcast by the Straits Times. My name is Jen Lee and I'm joined by Sam Joe. Today we are dressed up. I know if you're listening to the podcast you cannot see us, but you can see our video uploaded onto the Straits Times YouTube channel, so go and check that out. And why are we dressed up today, Sam Joe? Can you tell me?
I can give you a clue. You want a clue?
Okay, I want a clue.
Okay. Jen, 你听到了吗？
我听到了。
听到什么？
我听到。
我看呀看着电视，越来越有意思，说着我生命故事。
Yes! Today we are going to talk about Channel 8 dramas!
Woo! Which is
Our
my
favorite
absolute favorite childhood pastime.
Yes.
I would say even a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure not because I was ashamed of it. No, I'm very proud to have watched Channel 8 dramas, but because I spend literally almost every 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. slot of my childhood
just watching TV.
and eating TV dinners, in front of the TV.
And why are we talking about Channel 8 dramas today? Because in a few days, it will be the 25th anniversary of the Star Awards ceremony, which is
红星大奖.
红星大奖, yes. But it's the annual award ceremony held by MediaCorp to honor its Chinese language TV shows and stars.
It is the award show, right?
It's
So
the
they give
award
it's like
show.
the Oscars of Channel 8 and the local Chinese entertainment scene. And we, honestly, a lot of us grew up watching these shows and these award shows as well.
Yep. So we wanted to pay homage to our favorite TV shows by dressing up, and also we wanted to pay homage to because it's the 25th anniversary, so we wanted to just walk down memory lane a little bit. We'll look back at some of the highlights from the past 25 years of dramas, even though, dramas have been local dramas have been around for a bit longer than that. Yeah, a bit longer than that. But we want to look back at some of our favorite dramas, our favorite drama moments, and then the legacy of this Channel 8 shows and what it means to us and what it means to Singapore.
Right.
And also Star Awards moments and what dramas would be like going forward and how we think this year's award show might pan out.
Right, all right. I'm excited. Let's get started.
Yes, but before we get started, I know people listening to the podcast can't see us, but we dressed up especially for this. Sam Joe, can you give us a twirl?
Show off our costume, yeah. Okay.
Show off.
Can you all guess who I am?
我是谁？谁是我？ Yes!
And then
Sam
I
Joe
need
is
to,
济公. Sam Joe is 济公. He had
right
he has a whole costume.
Yeah.
Okay, sit down.
Oh, sorry. That was very loud. Yeah, so Zico, essentially, for those who don't know, was like a character played by Xie Shaoguang.
Yes, our faith. Yes.
He was like a monk who helped the poor and he had a lot of supernatural powers. What about you, Jen? What are you dressed up as?
I think it's fairly obvious.
Give us a clue. 思念如烟，它飞舞舌尖。
Sam Joe is having trouble with the lyrics.
And the pitch also the key.
Yes.
But she is 小娘惹.
Yes, dressed as little Nonya.
Which one are you? Are you 月娘、菊香?
I think I'm Jeanette Ao's character.
Jeanette Ao's,
yeah,
right.
very
which one?
classic beauty.
Okay, so yeah, probably 月娘lah, because 菊香couldn't speak, right? She was mute.
She had a very upsetting story arc. But
Okay,
anyway,
let's go.
Let's start. So let's dive into some of our favorite moments. Why not let's start by talking about some of the most memorable shows that we have watched. So I'll start.
Okay.
I think this is a fave for everybody. Everybody in Singapore remembers this actually, it's a trilogy of dramas. The Unbeatables, right?
Oh my gosh, 双天至尊!
Yes.
It's one of my absolute favorites. And that was when
Yes.
I fell in love with Li Nansing and Zoe Tay.
Yes. By the way, Sam Joe loves Zoe Tay. Sam Joe loves her.
To this day, Zoe Tay is still on my WhatsApp profile pic, but never mind. That's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a show about gambling.
Yeah,
right?
it was a show about gambling.
So way
and,
before
like,
we had
casinos in Singapore.
MBS.
Yes.
Okay, move aside MBS. We had Shanhu Dao, Coral Island, which is where a lot of the cool gambling
the story took place. Yeah. And then also at the start we referenced this. 你听到了吗？我听到了，我听到了草原的声音 blah blah blah. That was from 金枕头 Golden Pillow. Yes. Which was by actually a very classic combination, Wan Ziliang and then who is an actor from Hong Kong. There was also our favorite Caldecott Queens, Zoe Tay and Fan Wong. Two of them together in one screen. That didn't happen for a long time actually.
No,
afterwards.
not until like Shuang Zixing many years later.
Yeah, many years later. And then of course, Chulu, 豆腐街,
Yes.
和平的代价,
Price of
The Price of
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
You know, these are all very classic dramas.
So many.
Yeah.
And
That
even
sounds-
like 八仙过海.
八仙过海, yes.
The Eight Immortals.
东游记,
东游记,
yes,
sorry,
yes,
东游
yes.
记,
It's
which is-
神雕侠侣, of course.
It's depicted on this like gourd here. You see the like 8 Immortals and
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our favorite shows. Why don't I start? You know, these are like
Yes.
memorable shows that I think everybody remembers.
Tell us.
But my favorite show is firstly 真爱无敌,
What's that?
which it's called Love Me Not, I think in
Oh,
English.
this is the one with the angels, is it?
Yes. So this is the one with Jacelyn Tay and
Yeah.
Wang Lilin and Chen Hanwei.
Yes.
And basically, it featured Jacelyn Tay, like one of them is a cupid in heaven, and one of them is like one of those angels that like tear people apart.
Right.
So when they came down, so they were punished and they had to be sent to Earth. And I remember like their handler in heaven is like Dennis Chu, like Zhou Chuming.
Yes.
Not Zhou Chuming, sorry, Zhou Chongqing.
Chongqing.
Yeah, Dennis Chu. And then basically they, you know, exchange roles lah. One of them who was a cupid has to be a divorce lawyer. One of them has to be a matchmaker, you know. And then Chen Hanwei, in a plot twist, died at the end of the show and went to heaven. It's a
Right.
good ending, went to heaven. But the way he died was like, I think a coconut fell onto his head.
Oh
he died.
no! But I remember that
Yeah.
because they were like they used to have powers
Yes,
and everything,
yes.
and they always
And
had
then-
to communicate with like
Yeah.
their superiors in
Handlers,
heaven and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny.
And then another one is Fu Man Ren Jian, which was by Chu Chong-ming,
Right.
and also Chen Yuyun, who has since, you know, left MediaCorp to sail the world with her husband, Ling
Evelyn
Lun.
Tan, oh my god,
Evelyn
come back!
Tan,
We
yes,
miss you.
We miss you, Evelyn, if you're listening to this. Okay, and of course, Ultimate Fave, I think I don't have a strong memory of the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember that I really liked it and I really loved the acting, which is 家人有约.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. No, that
Huang
was
Biren.
really, really sad. It was a
Yes.
show about Huang Biren and Xie Xiaoguang, right?
Yes,
And Xie Xiaoguang
played
was
a couple.
this very successful surgeon.
Yeah.
And he got into an accident and he kind of like, I think
Lost
suffered
some brain function or something
yeah,
like that.
so
Yeah,
he couldn't
yeah.
walk, had to learn how to talk all over again.
Yeah.
And then Huang Biren had to take care of him as his wife, but she finds out that he had been he
Had
had an
been
affair.
Unfaithful to her.
Unfaithful to
yes,
her.
yes.
So she's like, oh, am I supposed to keep loving you,
Yep,
take
yep.
care of you? Oh my god, it was such a sad but really, really good show and
让我
excellent
再
acting.
相信，再相信，爱和情. No, we can't sing. Okay.
That's a theme song. We'll get
Yeah.
to that later.
Okay,
Theme songs.
let's go. What's your fave?
So many. I mean, all those that you mentioned definitely, and
Mm-hmm.
of course the unbeatables. I mean, for me, like seeing all the cool like gambling tricks and everything.
Mm-hmm,
I remember my cousins and I would watch the show and then try to learn those tricks. Like we tried
Mm-hmm.
we actually managed to like use the cup to like sweep up the dice and like shake it, and then we put it down. We'll move our ears and then like try to guess what the number is, and we would actually learn how to even throw cards. Like so I can
Yeah.
demonstrate right now.
Okay, we are having a demonstration. We're
Came
having
and
a
demonstrated
demonstration.
a quick one. We actually learned to do this. I learned this from the show, so you can actually like just throw the cards. Okay, ready?
Throw
at
at the camera.
Oh, but you saw that.
Yeah,
Not
I
bad.
flew for a bit. Yeah.
So that was
Okay.
fun. I also loved what was the other show that I loved? Oh my god, so many.
薯条汉堡
Oh my god,
青春豆?
薯条汉堡青春豆 is like a very coming of age show with like Phyllis Quack. I remember she was in it. I also love I think it was like 我的岳母是巫婆, where it's like my mother-in-law is a witch and
爸爸啦.
Papa La.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
played by
Chen
Chen
Li
Li
Ping.
Ping.
Yeah.
So she was like Papa La, but she was like a witch with a good witch with supernatural powers again.
And aside from like our favorite dramas, you know, MediaCorp also had sort of like their favorites, which is they did this like yearly big productions. And I think one of the most famous examples is the one that gave birth to our national couple, apparently. Christopher
national
Lee and
couple.
Fan Wong.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it's Return of the Condor Heroes, 神雕侠侣, which we have a poster
We
here.
have a poster from 8 Days. I collected this back in the day because I was such a fan of the show. As you can see, they tried to stuff every single actor they had in the
Yes.
company.
And it
back
says
then.
here is the most expensive TCS production at that time.
Right.
So, I mean, it had, of course, Christopher Lee, Fan Wong. It had, Yvonne Lim. Oh my God.
They had
is that-
Li Mo Cho was played by Pan Ling Ling. That's
Pan
my
Ling
favorite.
Ling,
Chen Keping
yes.
played what do you call that? Jing Lun Fa Wang.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they really tried to stuff everybody in there. That was like their yearly production was the kind where every star would make a cameo appearance. I
Right.
think even Zoe Tay and Li Nansing made an appearance.
Yes,
here.
they did. They were the Lu Jia, and then they were killed off in the first 2 episodes.
But they had
Yeah.
to appear.
But
had
you
to
know
appear.
exactly because it's a
Yes.
大制作, you know.
Yeah, it's their yearly big production. So this went on for a few years. I think there are other examples of it. Holland Village, for example, 荷兰村 was one of the first 长寿剧 or long form dramas that MediaCorp produced.
100 over episodes.
Yeah,
was it?
100 over episodes. A lot of other stuff like 大酒店, Big Hotel was one of the other big productions that they had. And now let's move on to, so many dramas, you talk a lot about dramas. Why not let's move on to some of our most memorable TV moments.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a bit racy here. It gets a bit racy here. Why
What was
not
yours?
I think, of course, everybody in my time who grew up in the early 2000s will remember 任我遨游, which was the champion in which Fiona Xie, like Felicia Chin, I think Joanne Pei also ran down Orchard Road in their bikinis.
Yeah.
It was completely
But only
like,
one of them got the most attention.
Fiona Xie,
Fiona
of course. I think, because of reasons. Let's just not go into them.
For reasons that shall not be
Be named
explicitly
here.
stated
Yes.
here.
And then what about you? I think another one, and I think yours is also another.
Mine was it's quite a sad scene actually.
It's very traumatic. It's a
from
very traumatic
He
scene.
Ping the 代价, The Price of Peace, which was obviously a historical drama about World War II and the Japanese occupation of Singapore. And I remember there was this really traumatic scene where Carol Lynn was playing this character and she got raped by Japanese soldiers, and then she got thrown out on the streets.
Is it Japanese soldiers? I think she got raped by like a rich man. Anyway, she got
was it?
raped. She got raped.
Okay,
Basically.
she was raped by someone in the show,
show.
and then she was just thrown out of a car
Yeah.
after they were done with her, and she was naked, and then
Yeah, and she really did go naked in that scene.
she
I heard.
did, yeah.
So
And
it
I,
was,
yeah,
it was very intense.
but it was really heart wrenching to watch, and oh my god, but that was very memorable for me. For other favorite TV show moment would have to be Ivy Lee Li Jingmei in 真相. I think it was The Truth or something, if I were to translate it loosely. And she basically, I think she played like a character with some like issues, and they were interrogating her, and she really gave it back to the person who is interrogating her. She was like, 你是猪，笨头笨脑的猪. It's
Which
like,
means you are a pig. You're a
stupid
stupid pig. Yes. That's
That
quite
was so
funny.
good.
That's
It was
quite
so good.
hilarious.
I think she might have won an award for that.
I think
Yeah,
so.
she
Ivy
was
Lee has one
amazing.
of the most Best Actress awards. At
3,
the South.
yeah. She's tied
Yeah.
with Huang Biren
Yes,
and
with Huang
Chen
Biren.
Liping.
Yeah. So speaking of hilarious moments like that, I think we can all agree that there have been some fairly ridiculous plot lines that are way too commonly deployed in Channel 8 dramas.
Yeah.
So one of them is just the freaking easy accessibility of guns and firearms and bombs.
Yeah. Every
I'm
time
sorry, what?
sometimes because we wanted to do like crime dramas and everything,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, but then it's set in Singapore.
Yes.
And then suddenly like a person will like whip up a gun and like kidnap someone.
Yeah.
Or like if they kidnap someone, then mysteriously they will have a warehouse to put them, an empty
Yeah.
warehouse, deserted warehouse to put them in.
Yeah,
Like,
which like where do you find
where
empty
do you find in
warehouses?
Singapore?
And where do you get guns? I'm sorry, what? I mean,
Yeah.
in 顶天立地, which I cannot remember the English name of this.
Right.
But it's basically a drama where like Tay Ping Hui, Chu Chong Ming, and Terrence Tao play best buddies who eventually like turn against one another. Terrence Tao comes in at the last episode with like a pistol and he's just like shooting everybody. And I'm like, I'm
Right,
sorry,
right.
Terrence Tao, where do you get those guns?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that
it's
was quite
crazy.
amazing. And also, can we talk about again one of our favorite dramas, 双天至尊, right? The
Card
Unbeatables,
catching,
where they
yes.
would just throw cards in the air and then like the
Successfully catch
Yeah,
it.
for some reason managed to catch like 5 cards of a poker hand, and while the cards
Yeah.
are just suspended in the air for like
One
more
of
than
the,
a few
one
seconds.
of the scenes featured like them on hot air balloons catching cards.
Catching
it was
cards.
crazy. And it isn't like one of your big traumas from the Unbeatables.
Also from the Unbeatables, remember I told you about how my cousins and I love to imitate all
card
the gambling
catching.
tricks, right? And so we learned how to throw the cards. But there was one scene where Long Ting Guang, which is a character played by Chu Ho Ren, okay, he
yeah.
blinds Li Nanxing's father, played by Cheng Shucheng, Yan Kun, and he literally like throws a card at his eyes.
Blinds the dude.
Yeah, because they used to bet with like their life and their bet with their eyes and everything. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna bet my eyes that I won't lose this, and then he lost the game.
So he used the cut to cut his
And he
eye.
used the card and he was blinded.
So that was your trauma.
Trauma, and to this day, right, honestly, when I walk past like people like cutting grass or everything, I'm scared that the grass
Grass will-
blades will cut my eye.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you? You also have a traumatic
I
experience.
have a very traumatic experience. Again, it was 顶天立地. I honestly can't remember the name of this. I will find out and put it in our description. Chu Chong Ming plays a villain who he plays a villain who I cannot remember who he kills, but one of this guy is searching for something, rummaging for something in his car boot, and Chu Chong comes from behind and slams the car boot down on the guy and kills him. He slams it repeatedly and kills the dude. And until now, I am very scared when I walk under car boots. I always have that scene in my mind, and I'm very scared of walking under car.
Because you're scared someone will shut it on your
Yeah,
on your
I'm
head,
just like, oh my
behead
god,
you.
then your spine breaks and you die. I was just like, I'm really scared of that. Yeah.
Okay. The scene was not meant to be funny, but yeah, many years later, in retrospect, obviously we can talk about how we were able to, for some reason, the plotlines were so ridiculous, but they managed to make us suspend our belief.
Yeah.
You know, and actually really feel for the characters. I thought that was amazing.
I think some of the better memories we have though are the music. I think we had to talk about the music, the amazing theme songs.
You cannot talk about Channel 8 shows without some of the theme songs. Like I was introduced to Chinese music through Channel 8 dramas. Because I grew up listening to English songs. And so like some of our favorites were, I mean,
城里的月光, for example, Mavis T. 把梦照亮. I think it was the theme song to 豆腐街.
Yes, and it's Moonlight in the City.
Definitely one of the most famous Chinese songs to come out of Singapore. And then we have, of course, Eric Mu's Kopi O. Kopi O, Kopi O. The Kopi O, which was the theme song for I think 感情联络所, which I think also translated to Kopi O in English.
And remember, oh my god, Jen, remember?
出路, we have to say 出路.
Oh, really? 漂洋过海我吃得起苦
is by 动力火车. Yes, it's by Taiwanese band 动力火车 Power Station. You know, it was the theme song to 出路, which was one of Singapore's favorite dramas. So that did very well.
And also, 我不是沉默的羔羊
Unbeatables.
我有话要讲
Okay.
And they used to make all these CDs.
I can't believe you have them,
I
Samjo.
do.
Samjo has
I thought I was
actual CDs, theme songs.
I was a Channel 8 drama buff, okay? And so remember how they were used to force all the actors to sing the theme songs?
Yes.
Even though, I mean, some of them could sing, others maybe not so much, but they did. And so, for example, here you can see like Zoe Tay, Phyllis Quek, Cynthia Cole.
春雨珊珊.
春雨珊珊.
Who is a long gone actor. He has left Mediacorp a long time ago.
I haven't heard that name in like 20 years,
I
man.
haven't heard that name in 15 at least.
Wow, okay, Chen Hanwei as well.
Yeah, 关怀方式.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Peter Yu. Oh my god.
Peter Yu, who recently made a comeback in the movie.
He did make a comeback. And a lot of very, very good songs, like even from the Holland V, like, soundtrack, like, Oh, 快乐密码不用看到很害怕 something like that, yeah.
And now if you're enjoying this episode of Pop Vultures, you can subscribe to us on the Straits Times podcast channel, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, and you can also find our videos on the Straits Times YouTube channel. And do just like and subscribe us. Yay! Rate us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now back to our show on Channel 8 Dramas. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the legacy of these dramas and how much they meant to us and what it means for Singaporeans.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. And I think one thing that we were talking about is that when we're watching old Channel 8 dramas, right, we're talking like from the 80s or 90s.
Mine for me is 90s.
90s, yeah, because you're not that old. I know. Thanks for revealing my age again, Jan.
You're not that old.
But hey, Singapore looked a lot different back then.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. We changed so much in just 25 years, which is how old I am and how old Star Wars is. We've changed drastically. And
like
some
the places
of the places,
look different.
yeah, you don't recognize them anymore and you can't find these places anymore. I think one good example is I was talking to my sister about, this drama called there was a drama which had a theme song 开车上路.
开车上路.
And it was about it was a lot about the 5 C's at that time, about the importance of owning a car and things like that, which reflected Singaporean values of a certain era.
You must have a condo, credit card,
Yeah, condo, credit card, which is a bit outdated Singaporean,
definition of success.
Yeah, definition of success. And she was just telling me, you go back and look at the theme song of that drama. The roads were so wide back then.
Oh, that's true.
It's true. We had really wide roads last time.
Yeah.
And by the roadside, you couldn't see a lot of tall buildings or anything because we weren't that developed yet. Yeah.
Right.
And now our roads are really narrow because we've gotten more cramped. We need more space. And things like pages.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
so I was telling you, right, that some of the plot lines were really centered around not being able to reach someone or find someone in time because how they never checked their pager or they lost their pager.
Which is a very old thing.
Oh yeah, so nowadays you just pick up a handphone and
Yeah.
or WhatsApp or whatever. Oh, then they double blue tick you. Then okay, they read it. But now it's like, last time it was like, oh my god, pager cannot page them. Then try to call them on the payphone.
Yeah.
There were all like scenes like that.
Which payphones have almost disappeared from Singapore, right? You can't really see them anymore. And even things like old taxis, old versions of comfort taxis or old buses that had no aircon, you know? Yeah.
The double decker ones with no aircon. Oh
you
my
can't
God.
see those things anymore, and it's a record, I think, of our history, and you can actually see it play out in the background. And also very important things like period drama set in Singapore in the 60s and the 50s, and of course The Price of Peace, 和平的代价, which was set during the Japanese occupation.
Right.
Is one of the only dramas ever made, I think, about the Japanese occupation of Singapore in particular, and it featured actual historical characters like Wei Sen Tan, Chen Taiming, played Lim Bo Sing, right? Who is the the war hero in Singapore at that time. And Bukit Ho Swee, which
the
He
Bukit Ho
Shui
Swee
Chan,
fire.
the Bukit Ho Swee fires in 1961, if I'm not
Right.
wrong.
You had actors like Qiu and
Baby
Florence Tan
Qiu,
in
Baby
there.
Qiu. It was like one of his very first dramas.
Yeah.
And of course, Wu Suo Nanyang, which had Huang Wenyong and Xiang Yun, featuring like immigrants in Singapore, coming to Singapore at that time. Some Sui women.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, just in even Kopio, it featured Singapore heartlands in the 80s, and you don't see that stuff anymore.
Right.
You can't get back the same feeling unless you look back at dramas made in that time.
Exactly.
And it's so important
Or made
for
about
us.
that time,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's so important for us to have at least some idea or an accessible way. Of course, dramas are not the only way we should learn about the world. We should learn about the world in different, very varied ways. But dramas are a very accessible way for kids to understand history.
Because honestly, as a primary school kid watching like 和平代价, Price of Peace, right? Like, what I want to read about World War II in
Through
a
social
history book,
studies.
a social studies textbook, or do I want to like just turn on TV and like while eating my dinner? And that's what I did, and I learned a lot. Like,
And you learn a lot about, I didn't know who Lim Bo Sing was until
Same.
The Price of Peace,
Yeah, oh my God.
So,
Is it we just like very swaku, but
yeah, I guess.
no, but hey, like,
we
whatever
were
it takes.
kids, yeah. And also, I think it showed, in the past, at the very least, Singapore was really a regional entertainment hub. People forget this, but we were a very important regional entertainment hub.
Yes. You don't see like how now we are watching like Taiwan dramas and
K-dramas,
like K-dramas,
yes.
but last time people were watching Singaporean dramas.
Yes, my Taiwanese friends actually told me that they grew up watching things like Dong You Ji.
Really?
Yes, like they have very fond memories of these shows. So, and we used to have all these collaborations with overseas artists, which I think showed how important Singapore was.
Right, we had Hong Kong and Taiwanese actors
Hong Kong
like, coming
Taiwanese
to act with us.
actors,
We
Wan
had
Ziliang,
Right.
Ma Jingtao in
Who was
Dong You Ji.
Lu Dongbin
Who was
in
Lu
Dong You
Dongbing,
Ji.
the Eight Mortals. And also how people watch 神雕侠侣. It was a
Yes.
big thing.
It was a big thing, and
The
people in
fan
China
war,
were looking forward
yes.
to our iteration of it.
Yes, the Fan Wong Christopher Lee version of 神雕侠侣 is oft mentioned actually as one of the popular productions.
And it introduced many of us to like Jin Yong's works, Louis
Yes,
Cha's
of
works.
course,
Yeah.
who tragically died
Right.
recently, and actually at the age of 90 something. So R.I.P.
Rest in peace,
Yep.
rest in peace, Louis Cha.
And also, I think for a lot of people, it was an introduction to Chinese culture and language.
Right. For me, can I just talk
Yeah,
about
go
how I
ahead,
speak
yeah.
English at home? And my Chinese was bad. Like, my Mandarin was bad, and my mom actually got Chinese tuition for me. But I feel like I learned a lot more from Channel 8 dramas, just like absorbing it over like, over the 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. slots.
Over something
and
entertaining.
over something entertaining, and I learned all these phrases that I would never have learned otherwise, or these like keywords. Like, I know now that Sao Bao means hussy.
哦，你口口声声的说
你口口声声, which literally translates to you mouth
voice
sound,
voice.
sound, say,
Say.
but then 我倒想看看.
Yeah. These are very common Chinese expressions. Yeah. And aside from like Chinese culture and language, I think it was also, the 90s, the 80s and 90s really bred a Singaporean generation of acting legends.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, what is Singapore's entertainment landscape without Zoe Tay,
惠玉
Hui Yu, Hui Jie,
惠玉姐
Ah
阿姐
姐
yes.
the
So,
queen of Caldecott?
yeah, the
okay?
Queen of Caldecott. So we had Zoe Tay, Fan Wong, who actually managed to make it to Hollywood,
She
Shanghai
did,
Nights. Yeah, and also of course on the men's side we have Li Nansing, we have
谢
Christopher Lee,
谢绍光
Xie Shaoguang.
谢绍
Come
光
back,
谢
Shaoguang.
绍光 Look at me, I'm
please.
dressed as you. Can you please come back? Come back and
谢
act.
小
We
光回
miss
来，
him.
谢谢你，我
Yeah.
们很想念你。We
So-
miss you a lot.
So 谢
Yes.
绍光 left to be a monk, then he was a chef, and then
Yeah, I wish we don't know what he's doing. He's a very private person, and we respect that. But
We
we
respect
really
that.
just want to take this chance to say we miss you and we
Yes.
miss your acting. We
he's
love
such a
it.
great actor.
Yeah, and also
Huang Biren,
Huang
of course.
Biren, his on-screen
最佳
partner.
搭档,
Yes,
and you had Ivy Lee.
Ivy Lee, Li Jingmei,
Yeah,
who
Li
I think
Jingmei.
moved overseas. I think she might be in England now, something.
Yeah.
She moved overseas with her family.
Right.
Yeah.
All these great talent like leaving our shores. Yeah, I really
Mhm.
hope that they come back. And then of course, like after that, pioneer generation, you had
Yeah,
the
Qi
newer
Gongzhu,
ones.
Seven Princesses, and
And
the Eight
Eight
Dukes.
Dukes, right.
I think Seven Princesses were like Joanne Pei, Don Yo, Felicia
Mhm.
Chin. So a few of them have actually left. Fiona Xie doesn't really act as much anymore.
Yeah.
They have different commitments now. But we just want to say we appreciate what they did,
Yeah,
for
we
the
appreciate
Singaporean
what they did.
landscape. But it also shows that I think the current generation, there is a bit of a gap as to who's on top, right? We don't have our Zoe and we don't have our Christophers yet. We don't have our Nansing, our Hui Yu yet,
Right. Who is
the top?
who is like
The star, our
The-
king,
the
our new
stars,
kings
yeah,
and queens,
exactly.
our new 阿哥阿姐. We feel like we don't really have a good grasp on who they are yet.
right.
And
So it remains to be seen.
it remains to be seen. And of course, mentioning those who the dearly departed,
Yeah.
Huang Wenyong, R.I.P. I covered Star Awards the year he died. Actually,
Really, how was
yeah.
that experience?
A lot of crying. A lot of people were crying, and it was very emotional because he died. I think the news of his death came out just a day or two before the awards, so a lot of people were caught by surprise, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't even know that he was sick.
Right.
So it was very emotional, and of
Right.
course, I think
This
year
you can expect that as well because
you expect that because of Aloysius Pang, who
Right. one
very
of the eight dukes.
tragically, one of the 8 Dukes who very tragically died earlier this year in a training accident. Yep. So I think we can expect some tributes to him as well.
Yeah, yeah, it
Mhm.
will be a very emotional one for sure. But hey, Star Awards, I look forward to it every year. It's full of so many iconic moments. I mean, the wacky fashion is one of them for
Wacky
sure.
fashion.
Yeah.
Angkok's I think Angkok had a transparent top at
She
one
had
point.
a sheer black blouse
Black
with like yellow
blouse.
pants.
Yeah, yellow pants.
Fan Wong came in like a yellow raincoat once, and then
Is it green? What a raincoat? It was
yellow
a raincoat.
and 1 year was like green, like hot pants or hot
Yes,
shorts.
yeah.
And then Christopher Lee came in an apron,
Apron,
before.
yes.
Yeah, there were all these moments.
And Xie Shaoguang collecting his award with a limp.
Oh,
because
right.
he won for Jing Zhentou for Golden Pillow, where he was a villain with a limp, and he
Yes.
like stayed in character where he collected his award. It was really cool.
Yeah. And let's not forget Rui En apologizing for her driving that year.
Yes,
And when she
yes.
accepted her award and she cried and bowed to the whole audience.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Ji Nianji.
Jing Yingji winning top 10, our favorite Jing Yingji,
One of-
Ai, yes.
Yeah, one of the veteran actresses, right, who has never won an award in her life, and she was so surprised that her name was called, and you
Yeah.
could tell that the whole room and everyone watching at home
Everybody
was just
like,
so
oh
happy
my
for
God,
her.
yes.
And it just shows that even older actors really deserve the recognition.
They do,
And
they do.
These are our in a way I would say national treasures.
Yeah,
like-
even like people like Chen Mei Guang. Yeah, she's very, very veteran. She acted in a lot of things. She was all the amas, in a lot of shows. And yeah, I think it's having the Star Awards gives us a chance to pay tributes to local performing arts, people in the performing arts sector. Local TV. They contributed a lot. And I think dramas in and of themselves had a lot of value to Singapore and Singaporeans because who is going to do a drama about Singapore other than Singapore?
Yes.
We are so small.
Right.
People will do dramas about their own countries, So I think it's important that we still have dramas around. I think a lot of people have said that the quality has
Has
declined.
dipped, yeah, people like me, you mean?
I do think so as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps because we don't have the budget, because we don't have the time to invest in these things anymore. So, MediaCorp needs to back up in terms of the quality of production, the quality
Yeah.
of scripts and writing.
And I also think that nowadays, you have you are competing with Netflix and all the on-demand
View,
TV.
K-dramas,
Exactly.
everything,
So,
They
yeah.
have bigger budgets, they have a bigger landscape,
Yeah.
they have a bigger audience. So, of course, they have a bit more resources, better resources.
Yeah.
But I think we can still, our past experience shows us that we are definitely capable of producing things that are very high quality.
Right. And that are more importantly relevant to
the Singapore
our
experience.
Singapore experience and psyche, yeah.
Yes, I mean, where else are you going to watch a drama about a family that makes nasi lemak other than Holland V, you know?
Yeah, and then you find out
Chun.
that the very good nasi lemak and the secret ingredient is
soda,
ice cream soda.
Ice cream soda, yeah.
Everyone
something
remembers
like
that, yeah.
Yeah,
That was great.
So,
That's
yeah,
great.
and you know who else is going to make a drama about Peranakan heritage in Singapore other than Little Nyonya? Who is going to make a drama about... We can't expect Netflix to carry the ball on all these things, you know? Who is
Right.
going to make a drama about World War II in Singapore?
Or like making kueh lapis.
Or making kueh lapis, or
Yeah,
Samsui women, or making
right.
kueh lapis. I remember that
Yeah.
show.
Or
Making
people-
laksa also.
Yeah.
There was a making laksa.
Or people at the kopitiam, or like people like, you know, in our police force, for example.
Yeah, and our
Cliff.
police for Cliff.
Yeah, good
James
times.
Lai is the VR man.
Okay, so before we digress any further,
Yeah.
I think we're running out of time.
嗯
没时间，
我没时
时
间
间。
so a theme
But it was
song.
such a fun walk down memory lane, Jen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. By the way, guys, we do this at lunch like almost all the time. So the fact that we get to record this officially really validates us.
Yes, validates our work experience.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for listening in. And
Yes.
Um,
And thank you for those of you who have been making all these dramas for
Yeah.
our entertainment all these years. Thank you so much.
yeah, all the people, you know, in front of the screens, behind the screens, the people who have left.
台前幕后的。
台前幕后, you know, people on stage, backstage, you know, we
Yeah.
really appreciate all that you do for the Singaporean TV landscape. And we look forward to see what new things might be created.
Yeah.
You know, yes, people say quality has been dipping and everything, but I think we are capable. I think we have potential.
Yeah, we're hopeful. We'll stay tuned. And speaking of stay tuned, that was Jen Lee.
And that was Yosem Joe.
And
And
we are
Pop
Pop
Vultures.
Vultures.
Thank you so much for listening. 谢谢大家。
谢谢
我要感谢我的父母。
真是很感恩。
我要感谢我的爸爸妈妈。
嘟嘟嘟
嘟嘟嘟嘟。
嘟嘟
That was an SPH podcast. Find us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and streaming on Google Home. Do send your feedback to podcast@sph.com.sg. You can also check out more podcasts on various topics at straitstimes.com and bt.sg.